let me warn you that we don't have so much good news this morning from the commodities market. So just bear with us. That's how things are. But the first big news everyone has been talking about on social media is the price of crude oil. Brent crude still bullish now, heading towards $87 a barrel. We're now sitting at 86.10 per barrel. That's for December delivery right now. Okay, that's coming back down to about 86.09, $86.09. The US oil WTI is also around 76.22. That's off track by 0.25%. A very interesting time. And then I said earlier whether we should have a party, but that's on one side. That's one good news. But a bigger good news for those who are cocoa farmers in West Africa, well, at least not for Nigeria, inclusive for now, between Ivory Coast and Ghana. Those two leading cocoa producers have set new floor prices for cocoa. They want to pay their own farmers a lot more because they work very hard. That's the new pricing that was announced yesterday. Let's bring all this together to your attention. Mokhtar Jimoh is joining us live here in our studios from Financial Derivatives Company. Thank you very much. It's good to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Great. Okay, so not so much good news. So let's deal with the good news first, because for times are hard outside. Yes. So folks are looking for every little piece of good news in this very difficult time. So oil is one of it. Yes, whatever happens to it, we will enjoy this $80, $85, $86.
Yes, of course, we would enjoy it. We would enjoy this rally in oil prices because we are one of the major oil price oil exporting countries. For instance, we've seen the oil prices rally to about above $86 per barrel earlier in the day, but now it's about $85.97 per barrel. So what that translates to for Nigeria is higher export is going to offset the lower production we have at the present. So what I'm trying to say is, but Nigeria has a unique scenario in the sense that we import our refined product.
This should have been a great time for us, isn't it? If we have refineries that are working locally.
Yes,
we should be having fun by now.
Yes, we should be having fun.
If we have full refineries, everything, oil at this level, we just save that cost, isn't it?
Yes, but we all know that the refineries are not working, so we have to import our refined product. And when oil prices go up like this, what it translates to higher landing cost of this refined product. And another thing with Nigeria is we have an existing cap on PMS. On production, okay. So effectively, the NNPC bears the brunt of higher crude oil prices, and which is weighing down on in its finances.
So it looks like a bittersweet story.
It's
like bitter leaf or bitter cola. It's sweet and then goes down a little bit bitter. Again, because you have the $86 a barrel here on one hand, then you have your under recovery of imported petrol on the other hand. So it comes from here, it goes out from here, it comes in from here, it goes out from here.
Yeah, that's what.
We don't really look like we have a good use of it.
That's the reality. And when you look at the external reserves have been under pressure. It's been declining over the years.
Okay. At least this is good news for external pressure, or external reserves.
Yes, it is good news for external reserve, but that doesn't mean the reserve is going to be accreting. We still expect the declining trend to continue, albeit a slightly lower pace or something.
Because we'll still have to pay for the petrol import anyway.
Yes,
and that money has to come from somewhere.
Yes, it has to come from somewhere, and it's gonna come from the NNPC's coffers because we do not have subsidies in our budget.
Now maybe the FARC allocations will also increase a little bit. That will be interesting to those who are part of the sharing formula. One other good news, and I want us to take that also quickly before we talk about other things, has to do with the farm gate price of cocoa. This is good news for farmers in Ghana and Ivory Coast.
Yes, it is good news for farmers in Ivory Coast. Because this is the first time Ivory Coast is raising its farm gate price. If you recall, like 2 years ago when there was a slump in the global price of cocoa, Ivory Coast reduced reduced its farm gate, whereas Ghana held it flat. So that's, but the disadvantage of this thing is of reducing the farm gate prices. It encourages cross-border smuggling. So I as a farmer, cocoa farmer in Ivory Coast, I'll rather smuggle my goods to go and sell to the government of Ghana, and I had revenue. From Ghana.
From Ghana. But again, Ghana still says they're moving up. They're going to have a price arrangement that should come into effect between Accra and Abidjan by January 2019. So where is Nigeria in this entire scenario? Well, we're setting our own cocoa price at $2,000 per ton.
Yes, it is. Like what I've just highlighted earlier on, it is not about reducing. It is comparing the two of them. When you compare Nigeria's farm gate price to Ghana and Ivory Coast has a farm gate price of about $1,340 per ton, while Ghana has $1,530 per ton.
Nigeria has $2,000.
Nigeria has $2,000. The disparity is just too much, and that's going to mean revenue loss for Nigeria, in the sense that Ghanaian farmers can actually smuggle into Nigeria and sell to the government, and the government is effectively playing higher compared to the Ghanaians and Ivory Coast.
And the Ivory Coast. So we need to do something with our own farm gate price of cocoa.
Yes, we need to do something. Probably a slight downward review, but yeah,
maybe 1,500, somewhere around along there, because it looks like everyone will just start taking advantage of us, just like they take advantage of us on rice and on petrol and things like that.
Yes.
Just drive those tankers across the borders, because the prices are higher in the neighboring countries than where they want people. So where is the price of diesel? Things are looking a little bit 237. I use petrol, so I hardly use diesel. Sometimes when I come across it, it just hits me like a stone.
Yes, the price of diesel, unlike the PMS, unlike petrol,
yes,
it is relatively unregulated. So what we see is it kind of mirrors the global trend in oil prices. So since oil prices have gone up, diesel price per liter has increased from 235 naira per liter to 237 naira per liter.
So if I may play the devil's advocate, perhaps the price of petrol right now should be around 237 naira per liter. If diesel is reflective because it's deregulated.
Yes, yes.
So it reflects the current global crude prices. So if it's 237, which means petrol at 145, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the margin there is part of what we call the under recovery and what have you.
Yes, yes.
I'm just trying to do a simple math. I'm trying to be smart. That's what I'm trying to be.
Right.
I'm just trying to be smart that maybe diesel price now at 237 give us a gauge or an idea of what maybe petrol price should be if we have a fully deregulated PMS market.
Yes, it reflects the price the price that petrol should be, obviously, just like you said. But let's not forget that there is no political capacity to do this at this moment when you're looking at the election.
No, that's not political capacity. So how do we fill this diesel and other energy costs into the PMI, what you call the manufacturing activity report for the month of September? Looks like, well, we have a few of the sub indices in positive territory, some are in the negative territory. What does that tell us about what consumers should expect in terms of shelf prices?
Let us understand what the Purchasing Managers Index is. It is a leading economic indicator that signals the health of the manufacturing sector. So, knowing that at first, we've seen that purchasing managers, the PMI has declined 2% to 53.7 points in September. Although this decline, the PMI is still in the positive territory because a 50-point threshold above that is an expansion, but it is still in expansionary territory, but the degree, the rate at which it's expanding has reduced. So what that tells us is that manufacturers are less optimistic about future demand. Ordinarily, PMI should be increasing at this point. When you look at the fact that we are approaching the festive season, where there's always a boom in demand. So it's a cause of concern that the manufacturer...
Yeah, because your report says his output is high, inventory is also high, which means that despite the high price of diesel and other inputs, manufacturers have warehouses filled, but folks are not really making purchases.
And that boils down to the weak consumer demand as a result of low disposable income that we have. And obviously, the inflation is eating into the real income of household as well. So that's affecting the ability to purchase more, basically. Yeah,
that's what folks are saying, that even some states, even with all and some states say they still haven't gotten their salaries paid for the month of September.
Yes.
And it's hurting quite a lot of things.
It is hurting the aggregate economy because when consumption is like a function of what your output is going to be. So when there's weak consumer demand, it suggests that GDP might be weaker than expected.
Okay, so let's ramp up this. Let's wrap up this conversation around the global soft commodities. What's the outlook as far as wheat, grains, wheat or part of the grain family, including corn and maybe sugar, and cocoa as well? I like that.
Okay. Yes. So the outlook for grains generally is that prices would decline in the short term because of robust harvest from US, and similarly cocoa is going to decline. That's the projection because West Africa's output has increased, and that's bad for Nigeria in the sense that we are exporting cocoa. That's going to translate to lower trade balance. Then the other one is sugar, which is one of our import commodities. The prices are currently reducing, declining, and that's because of prospect of higher output from India. So when that declines, it's also positive for Nigeria.
Okay, so a bit of I like this issue around the cocoa prices because I'm going to keep hammering on that. That's one major product that comes out of this region. Nigeria, one of the top cocoa producers around the world. So if cocoa prices is down 1.49% to about $2,055 per metric ton, pressure of whether output from Ghana will be much stronger this year despite the disease and weather conditions, right?
Yes, sir. That's
okay. Okay, cool. Let's leave it there for now. Let's check together again, maybe later in the week, and then we'll find out what are the big stories, what is burning on the economic and commodities market front. That's Mokhtar Jima, one of the research analysts at Financial Derivatives Company. And of course, the story today, the market is remembering Hayford Alile, who passed away, a former Director General of the Nigerian Stock Exchange between 1976 and 1999. He was superintending the stock exchange during some of the critical period of transformation of the Nigerian securities market. Hayford Alile was the Nigerian Stock Exchange during the TCPC, the first phase of privatization, and of course massive closure of banks in the early 90s, including new listings on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, as well as the technological transformation of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, and more importantly, that of the CSCS, the Central Securities Clearing System. The market will miss them. We'll be back in 2. You're watching Business Morning.